This video is brought to you in part by Grand Prix Originals USA. Enter coupon code AIRAMOTIVE for discounts.
Plus a clock. Go away. Still jet lag.
It's Dyno Day.
Welcome to Cleveland Aeromotive. I'm your host, Trevor Cleveland.
Now, I've been explaining to you in part over the last two videos why it is that you might want to buy a CLS 550 W218 instead of the possibly checkered past CLS 63 AMG version of the same car. The CLS 550 has the M278 4.7 liter engine in it, and the AMG has the M278 5.5 liter version in it. Now, I also explained that the CLS 550 only produces 402 horsepower and 443 pounds-feet of torque. Now, those are crank numbers. So my suggestion is to go to RENNtech and get an ECU tune, and that comes to you with a handheld tuner. The claim on their website is that they will produce 464 wheel horsepower and up to 606 torque. Now again, that's wheel. So the question is, are the claims true? Today we're going to find out. Hi, I'm Stefan, a 747 pilot here in the USA. With this channel, I'll be applying my technical knowledge to another passion of mine, automotives and the culture that surrounds it. For the next few minutes,
30,
sit down,
20,
settle in,
10.
and hang on. Our next stop is Cleveland Aeromotive. And here we are, RENNtech. It has been brutally hot these last few days in South Florida, and you know, it's summer, but today's been pretty forgiving, no rain yet. But let's scurry up on the inside and find out what's happening in the RENNtech shop. Wow, this place is always just a museum of amazing, look at these amazing cars here. Oh my God. I mean, this is like a celebration of the AMG, the SEC AMG here. Hey, oh, hell, and there's a person I know from the phone. Hey, Lars, it's Stefan Cleveland. Pleasure to meet you. Hey, dude, you know, thanks. This is mind-blowing. You know, every time I walk in here, these AMG, these pre-merger products that you guys are working on here I used to have a 560 SEC. I'm kicking myself in the hiney for having sold it. Can you give me like a walkthrough on some of these amazing...
We have 3 SECs.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's like the SEC, like cornucopia
SEC
right here. Yeah.
Tell you what, Stefan, we got. This is mostly work in project. This is a restoration car that we finished a few years ago.
Wow. And it's just mint. Yeah. I haven't. I mean, there's not a wrinkle in it anywhere. Look at this. It's a time capsule. This is awesome. Wow. Okay. Wow. And you know, it's just now, and these are the original fender flares. This is not something where the fender flare, you can get an SEC and put the fender flares on later. This was born as an AMG.
Yes, this is a pre-merger AMG.
Yeah.
Japanese market original.
Japanese.
It's a 6 liter and with the 4 valve heads.
Wow, so the 6 liter, that was the big engine, the 6 liter, right? You could not, there was none higher, right?
No, and then combined with the 4 valve. The 4
Wow.
valve heads is what really made the power motor.
That, yeah, that's insane. That is a historic car that's right there. Now, Lars, you've got one more AMG back here. Tell me about this one here.
This is an actual early wide body. It has the AMG 1 Aero body, which is a little different from the later model.
And it looks like this one is getting a complete restoration on the interior, huh?
Correct. It is being restored to as original as can be and repowered. So the engine that was now 34 years old, I think, is getting repowered. We're working on that. And once the engine is repowered, we're going to measure its power, make sure that it's doing what it should be doing, and at the same time we're working on the interior and restoration of the car.
Wow, and you've got a Ford GT back there.
It's a black Ford, so we couldn't say no.
I gotcha. Okay, that's cool. Now, is this a kit Shelby here, or
this is an AC Bristol. So it's not a kit Shelby. This is what Carroll Shelby saw and decided to put the Ford.
This was his inspiration.
Yes.
This is wow.
Yeah,
so this is
the chassis.
Oh wow, that's incredible.
And you see how she's kind of like a slab side. So the early AC.
Yeah, it's very narrow.
Called slab sides, and she has the same one.
Yeah, it doesn't have the AMG bulges yet.
No, she's not
right. When do the AMGs go on there? What about this? What about this E60 here? This RENNtech E60. What's going on with this?
So this is a RENNtech build, and they're not the S210 chassis. So based on a 420, and has gotten a complete build by RENNtech, including widened fenders on the front and the rear. So the body work, but it also has a 6-liter M119 engine. So,
okay, all right.
So it has the power. You can see it's all original. It's a really nice car, one of kind.
Hey, would you take me out into the garage? Because I know in the garage you've got some amazing projects. Lars, now we're out in the garage.
We have more SCCs, surprise.
Oh my God, they're like multiplying, they're like rabbits.
We have them in the pearl black, we have them in teal.
Oh my God.
So Stefan, you happened on an SCC kind of day.
You're making me feel terrible for selling mine. What are you doing to me? This is, oh boy. Yeah, again, just amazing SCCs here. You know, you've got you got the SLR over here. That is fantastic. Whew. I mean, what more can be done to this car other than handle it with kid gloves? I mean, this is, you know, do you know what RENNtech is doing with this particular SLR?
Well, once again, we maintain them, and cars that have come out of, for instance, a warranty, some customers prefer us over the dealership.
Yeah,
because we specialize in special cars. So
yeah, I honestly don't. I wouldn't trust a regular dealership with us.
Unless you have a relationship with them.
Yeah, were there 350 of these ever made?
Oh,
and
good question.
It's like, you know, it's like how do you get your 350 units sold? You know, Mercedes-Benz.
Low production is what we specialize in.
Yeah. Got it. AMG GT up there on the lift.
That's our development car right there.
Okay. Oh, that's your. Okay. That's.
It features a lot of the upgrades that we have for the car.
All right.
We're working on the suspension system here.
Wow. All right. Okay.
All in shot. It's been a lot of Tears of Korea today too. Drive home. Yeah.
All right, we got an SEL here, which is also an AMG spec.
Engine work once again. So M117 is our go-to for now. And here's your car, of course.
What, the AMG GT? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, the CLS 550 RENNtech. Look at that, and he's already rolling with it.
Getting warmed up.
Yeah. Woo. All right, Austin, we just had a number of polls, a series of polls with just the stock tune, and then we had a series of polls with the RENNtech tune. We've got a bunch of really great data here. What can you tell me generally about what you found out about my car before and after RENNtech tune?
Okay, so the two polls that we used are hot tunes, run 3 and run 6, to do a fair comparison between the car fully up to temperature. Mm-hmm. What we learned stock is that your car is surprisingly good, especially in the torque department. You see that we've got a fairly high horsepower and a higher torque at 440 at the wheels. That we're looking at wheel horsepower here, of course, being on a dyno jet.
Yep.
And then on the tune, we've got good gains here, especially in the mid-range, and okay gains, solid gains above that even. But you can see that you and I had talked before about us running out of can't beat physics, and you can probably see that we're running out of turbo about here.
Yeah,
you see below sort of 2750, we're ramping up. Those wastegates are all the way shut as we're trying to get those turbos to spool up, and then the boost starts to get managed as we hit our targets. Here we're hitting our targets, and then we start to the turbos on a 550 start to run out of steam a little bit up top. And we still have some solid gains over stock for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the nitty gritty? So what is the maximum torque? And now for here, as this display will show, it's crank torque, right? No, this is wheel torque.
This is wheel torque.
Yeah, so what is the maximum wheel torque that I showed throughout this whole series of polls with the RENNtech tune?
So our peak numbers are here. You see that our peak torque is here at 577 at just under 4,000 RPM. That happened right about here.
All right, and our max horsepower?
Max horsepower is 464, and that happened right here.
Wow. Let's take a look at a little bit more of this data in depth at your desk.
Sure. Okay, so we're comparing, we've got two different windows open here. One with the stock pull that we were looking at before on the dyno, and one with the tuned pull that we were looking at before as well. Again, both of them, the third pulls on both of them. So one of the main things that we're going to be looking at is temperature. That's what we currently have open right now on this lower slide right here. You can see that the car actually managed the temperature tuned very well. There's obviously a climb during the run of about 5 or 6 degrees C.
Well, that's what I mean. What you have that giant fan in front of it for, no? Or is that?
Yeah, that helps some, but you got to think that on the dyno we're going at a wheel speed of at the peak RPM, something in the realm of 120 miles an hour, and that fan can move maybe 30, 40 miles an hour of air.
Yeah. So at least we're mitigating it at best.
Yeah. So we're looking at intake temperature here, not engine temperature, which obviously has a big effect on boost. One of the other things that I want to look at here and call attention to is our peak load numbers are 135% stock, and on the same third pull we're at just a tick over 190% with the tune. That's nice. That's indicative of something working really well. I also want to compare the knock numbers, stock and tuned. I don't really want to have any more knock retard stock than I do, or tuned than I do stock.
I told him to stop calling me knock retard, but it just doesn't. It just keeps on going.
It's, you know, I call it how I see it. So I think that we've got, you know, a touch of knock, 3 degrees on a couple of the sensors stock, and about the same tuned right at the peak. Pretty typical for what you'd expect for an M278. And the other thing I want to look at is the wastegate to see if that's responding exactly how I want it to, and the throttle angle.
Okay.
So throttle angle here, again on the stock file, you can see that even though the run has started down here, we haven't gotten full throttle yet, and there's a pretty solid amount of management that happens in the middle of the run. Here we're at 4,600 RPM, and then it goes wide open at the end. And on the tuned run, we've got nice full throttle opening from the beginning of the run, with a little bit of management happening in the middle as we're making those intake pressure targets. And I want to look at wastegate as well. And we can see wastegate, pretty again typical for what you'd see stock, sort of mid 50s for percentage, and then kneeling off a little bit at the top as we come to the shift. And then tuned, we've got a much higher wastegate duty cycle. Normal as boost ramps up for both stock and tuned to be closed as it tries to spool and make its own targets. And then as soon as it starts to make target, wastegate starts to manage the boost levels. And then we talked a couple times again about limitations of factory turbos, and we can see here at the top we're just out of turbo. Those turbos are trying as hard as they can to make boosts, and it gets managed with everything else, such as ignition and fuel, up at that point.
Now, and Austin and I are like the same way on this. I love geeking out on this tech stuff, and I came to the right place. RENNtech is like really like showing all the nitty gritty and the detail on this. This is fantastic. Just kind of heading out here. Hey, is this your Hartmut? Hey, I was just on my way out. Stefan, I just spent the day here. This is, of course, Hartmut File, and I was just on my way out the door. It's awesome meeting you here. I was just doing a dyno, and of course exploring the pedigree of RENNtech, your legacy, you know, with the AMG RENNtech connection and everything else.
You around,
ja, Sie sind auch eine Schwabe, habe ich gehört.
Genau. Ja.
Okay, ich bin aus Stuttgart. Eigentlich meine Mutter ist aus Stuttgart. Und Sie?
Aus Falderbach.
Ah, Falderbach. Okay, so
that's direct where AMG is.
That's actually where AMG is.
Yeah, when I worked there, I walked to work. I didn't have to drive.
I walked to work once in Atlanta. That lasted for 6 months, and then that was the end. I wish I would have been so lucky. But yeah, thank you again for the shop tour and the dyno, and just experiencing everything that RENNtech has become these days. But I'm on my way out. I am just about out of space on my card, and I ran out of my lavalier mic batteries just in time, right? Just to get a hold of the man himself. But anyway, thanks again.
Good. Sure, you're very welcome.
All right, cheers. Bis später.
Yeah.
And that was my amazing day at RENNtech. I really want to reach out and thank again Austin and Lars and Patrick, who didn't appear in the video, but he served as my sales agent from the first phone call. And of course, most of all, Hartmut File, the founder of RENNtech, for allowing this little YouTuber with a big heart to have access to his shop and trusting him to make a video regarding my ECU tune. And once again, I do want to remind you that putting safety first doesn't mean you have to have a boring drive experience. Like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys soon.